Oops. Welcome to the Lift Heavy Run Long podcast, episode number 124 with Gavin May. You can find us at www.liftheavyrunlong.com, on Twitter and Instagram at liftrunlong. Also, feel free to email me directly at the address wilson@liftheavyrunlong.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. If you're not a member of our private Facebook group, you should be, because we want you to be there. Search for Lift Heavy Run Long Community and request to join right now. My name is Wilson Horrell. I am one of your hosts. Is it even faster than last week?
You just get, the longer you get, the faster you get.
That's a good thing. The Lift Heavy Run Long podcast is not censored. I want to remind you of that.
Listen at your own risk.
Listen at your own risk. Lift Heavy Run Long has an app, and we want you to be on it. The app, for $3.99 a month, you can be part of the Lift Heavy Run Long community. On the app, you will get 3 bodyweight strength exercises per week. You'll get 4 barbell strength exercises and 4 daily WODs. You will have access to Valerie Hunt, who is one of the greatest endurance trainers on the planet, and she's on the app, and she's available, and everybody in the community is on the app and available.
Man, the app has been getting some love from the community lately, too.
It has.
It's really exciting for me, just to see that so many people are getting so much value out of it.
It's coming together. I enjoy having, for $9.99 a month, you can have access to all of the programs that Lift Heavy Run Long has to offer. There's distances from 5Ks to 100 miles, Spartan races, triathlons. Valerie's worked really hard to put a lot of different programs together. Vaughn's put a deadlift program together, a recalibration program.
Yes.
If you're feel like everything's in the crapper and you're just tired of what you're doing and you're tired of the same old routine, then Vaughn built a program that's especially made for kind of coming out of that rut.
Getting you back into a groove.
Yep. And it's a pretty cool deal. It's got weekly goals and some, I don't want to say easy workouts, but they're not complicated. You don't have to do a lot of thinking.
Yes.
Go to the gym, do your reps, go home, feel good about yourself.
At the time I put that together, I was like, at our gym, we were like doing lots of like, okay, 71.5% of your squat, and do that for 4 reps, and then do 79.3% and put that in your calculator. I was like, I'm just not where I am. Like, I want to just walk in here and put weight on the bar and do 5 sets of 5.
Yep.
And that's very valuable for a lot of people, especially if you're like, screw this, I don't even want to be here today. Like, I don't need another excuse to walk out of the gym, and making it complicated just makes it worse. Like, screw this, I'm just going to go home. And I actually did that a couple of times, but like having like an easy thing to follow where it's like 5 by 5, you can't mess that up. You could do a little heavier than you did last week.
Yeah.
Just show up to the gym this week and let's do this simple workout. You can't beat that if you're in that spot where you're like kind of in a funk.
That's right. The goal of Lift Heavy Run Long
was that bad?
Is to bring. Well, they're tough. The crowd is tough, man. It's a tough group to get along with.
I don't know, man. I don't care. That's just speaking the truth.
Yeah, but you gotta watch them. That's what you got to keep your head on a swivel.
They just want to say curse words all the time.
That's all they do. They sit in here and they talk dirty, and I gotta correct them. Try to keep this thing as professional as possible.
Good luck.
The goal of Lift Heavy Run Long is to bring fitness to as many people as possible, as inexpensively as possible. So if you know someone who does not have $3.99 a month and you think that fitness would enhance their lives, then please email me at wilson@liftheavyrunlong.com, and I'm happy to add you to the app free of charge. One more order of business. If you have time, check out the Daily Dumbbell at dailydumbbell.com. The Daily Dumbbell is the most trusted source for fake news in the fitness industry. I have sitting on my right, the hottest woman on the planet, Dr. Amanda Kimsey Horrell, Jack and Tan.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. What's new?
Not much. Went to the gym tonight. That felt good.
Yep.
Felt good to be back.
Feeling strong?
I am.
How's your foot?
It's pretty good. I haven't. It didn't hurt today. I haven't run on it though either. It seems like it flares up pretty easy. So I'm kind of worried about St. Jude. So I may carefully tape it before St. Jude and see how that goes since Dopey's coming up.
Yep.
Other than that, I'm good.
Next to Amanda, we have our friend Gavin May. How are
going
you,
on?
sir?
Hey.
Doing well.
Thank you for coming out here.
No problem.
You said you're from Tate County or you live in Tate County now?
Both.
You live there now?
Yes.
How long of a drive is it out here?
30 minutes.
Okay.
Not bad.
We're going to get to Gavin, who is on a winning streak. If there was ever a guy who's on a winning streak, it is you. You've come a long way in, what, a year?
Probably 18 months.
It's hard to believe that's even you on some of your old pictures.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
I bet you do. Next to Gavin, we have the Reverend
Yeah, hello.
Von Rawls.
I'm here.
How are you?
I'm doing good. It's Thanksgiving week.
What do you got planned for the holidays?
We're going to Jackson, Tennessee. Holly, my wife, her cousin has been in Africa for 2 years in the Peace Corps, and so they got back this week, and so
Cool.
they're having a huge celebration for him and his girlfriend who've been gone for a couple of years, and so everybody's going out to Jackson. They got a big place out there.
Nice.
72 people are going to be there.
Whoa.
Whoa, that's right up your alley.
I'm going to
What
love
corner are you going to be in?
Yeah. Well, I'll go. They'll be in the barn. I'll go in the house and go upstairs and.
All right, so we'll call Jackson tomorrow or Wednesday and give him instructions on how to take you around and introduce you to people.
Right.
Big thirsty Brian Swanson.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
Better than I deserve to be. I'm grateful for it.
Has the Tunnel Hill 100-miler registration opened up yet? And are you signed up for it?
I wouldn't even know.
Did we agreed
does it
last week
open?
that you were going to do a 100-miler at some point this year?
Definitely not this year, just so we're clear.
Was it not?
No.
It was 2019. Sometime in 2019.
I think that's what you said. I
that's
don't know
what
that
you
I
said.
agreed to that.
Yeah, I think you committed for 2019.
Not sure that's the thing.
Notre Dame football looking pretty good.
Notre Dame had another good week against Syracuse.
They don't have to have too many more good weeks, you know.
Well, we're only allowed to have one more good week until the playoffs start.
They don't allow a lot of bad weeks, do they?
Well,
not in the national championship.
Not in the national championship race. So we got USC this weekend, and God willing, it's an easy game.
Is there any USC people at the gym?
I don't know.
Because
Nobody.
it's rivalry week. Last year, Scott Hollis threw out the 100 burpee challenge,
Okay.
and we had quite a few people. Seemed like we had quite a few people.
Oh
get in on
yeah, that took the action on rivalry week as far as loser does 100 burpees.
Yeah, and we had to put it on film, and there had to be at least a degree of production value to it. And,
I seem to remember you and Sam doing burpees together.
that's correct.
Maybe some other people.
Chris Miller did
Chris
some
Miller,
burpees.
okay.
Mississippi State did not do well last year against Ole Miss.
So I saw an interesting stat today talking about the Egg Bowl. I'm going to totally screw up all the numbers, but let's just say that the Egg Bowl's been happening for 30 years. You guys are like dead tied.
Yeah.
And like the point spread is only 1 point difference between all the games. It's like 595 to 594 points over the duration of that series.
Is it really?
Yeah, like it's tied like almost down the middle with everything. So that's pretty crazy.
Well, you can bet the team that has the most to lose will lose that going into that game every single year. You know, if one of us is having a bit of success, then the other one has
Well,
to
and
take
that's
that.
why everybody's like, oh, USC is going to be pushover for you guys. And I'm like, USC could be 100th in the nation, and they're going to show
Yeah.
up against us and put some points on the board just to try and screw up our year. So it's just, I'm just not. There have been years in the past where I've been very cocky about Notre Dame football, and this year I'm just silently sitting back and counting my blessings and just hoping that the success continues, and we'll see what happens.
Well, when you anytime you take a group of Division I athletes, then there's an unlimited amount of potential there.
Of course.
And so any 11 can do just marginally better than the other 11 and just put a shellacking on them. I don't care where you go to school.
Yep.
I love the sport of it. I'm surprised more colleges didn't call me to play, especially between my academics, my height, and my speed. I just seemed like I would have been a perfect
It's a missed opportunity.
college football player.
Do we have any 5-star reviews?
We don't have crap.
Dang it,
Nobody's
people.
written any reviews at all.
You know why that's like especially disappointing? Because every single week we have a guest on, and every single week we talk about doing 5-star reviews, and every single week the guest is like, I'm going to do a 5-star review for you
I've given you guys a 5-star review before.
Yeah, he did his before he got here.
He did. That's true.
You're the man.
I was giving the evil eye. Take it back.
But I'm
Take it
just
back.
saying, like, all of our guests come on here and they're like, oh, I'll so happily do. The only guest that's done one after basically after they were on the show was Charlie, because Vaughn did hers while he was on the
did it
show,
while-
Which
like
that's
in the
the way
middle
to
of the
do
show.
it. That's the way
So
to
if you'll
do it.
just hand your phone, that's what we need to do. Just turn over your phone to Vaughn as part of your check-in process for the podcast, and we'll take care of it from there.
And Vaughn, your success rate for posting things about here, leave us a review, please, is 100%. Every time that you put something out there, people do it.
They do. I think they do. Yeah.
They do. Gavin, you had like an old school iTunes account that probably you'd set up, 15 years ago, and your name was like
I've never even put that name in
G-Spot or
there,
something
though.
like that. G-Money.
So funny. I don't
remember
that to
what it
me,
was
too.
now.
Like when I go to iTunes, it does the same thing. Like I'll leave a review and it'll have like, how does it even know like who I am? You know what
Like,
I mean?
I've never used that, whatever that name was, for anything. I have no idea where that came from.
Really?
I wonder
No.
if it's automatically generated.
There's probably something in your profile where you can change it, and you've just never changed it, and that was probably some auto-generated name
Yeah.
that it came
Okay.
up with.
Pimp
That's my
Daddy
guess.
369.
I don't remember what it
It was
was.
something like that. It was really funny. It was good. It was a good nickname. You should hold on to it. It was not G-Spot, by the way. I just came up with that.
Andrew Causey just said it took him way too long to figure out why we weren't taping on Thursday this week.
Yeah.
By
Well,
the
it's
way.
not unusual for us not to. It's
Well,
probably
yeah.
more unusual for us to actually tape on the day that we're
Yeah,
scheduled.
Thursday,
Lately, we've
Thursday
been
is our
moving
regularly
around
scheduled
a lot.
podcast day, but it
Yeah.
seems like week after week, one of us has something going on, so we reschedule to another day. And it just so happens, for those that are listening to this not live, this is Thanksgiving week, so that's why we're recording on Monday.
Being as how this is a fitness podcast, there's something that I want to talk about that's been driving me crazy. I can't remember if we talked about it last week. Stop me if we did. Typing. I'm learning to type.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that you know how to type.
Well, I have to. I mean, I kind of get paid to type.
Get paid to type.
I mean, I type all day long.
When did you learn to type?
In high school, and
You
junior
took
high.
like a professional, I say a professional class. You took an actual class.
In high school, I did,
I've never taken a typing class.
but
Have you not?
I mean, I took like 1 year, half
Yeah.
a year of typing in junior
yeah, that's
high.
all it is, yeah.
And then, but when I graduated, I mean, I started working in the tech, or at least where I had it was in front of a computer when I was like 19.
Yeah.
Like, so I've been typing for.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I
Years
know
and
how to
years.
type. I mean, I don't home key. I just put my hands on the keyboard and start typing.
That's my
And
question.
And I can type without looking at the keyboard, but I still don't home key and I don't have the proper reach.
Oh, you don't? I do. I
I'm-
know exactly where there's two keys in between these fingers, and I know which ones are what.
Well, I mean,
So-
I could just put my hands on the keyboard and figure it out pretty quickly where I'm at. But I don't type like I've been trained to type. Let me say it that way.
Okay.
That's interesting.
It's
I think
I'm somewhere between
yeah.
like looking like I have taken a typing class and a hunt and peck, but I can do it at 100 plus words a minute. So
I'm somewhere looking like I belong in some kind of mental hospital.
are we still talking about typing?
And what's so bad about this is that I can type fine. I can type pretty well. I can put out, a lot of words, but I type, and then I look at it and I correct. And then I type, and I look at it and correct. And so now I'm learning to type correctly, and it's a disaster. And so I hate I hate writing. I hate doing any. I think
Because you're trying to do it the right way.
because I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm like, I
Right.
don't have time for this, but I need to break these habits. So here we go. And then I can't even get into my computer, and I'm frustrated.
type-
what I would
type the
do?
wrong password
I
a
would
bunch of
do if
times.
I was in that spot. I would go get like a Dvorak keyboard.
Oh, like learn a completely different
Yeah,
style.
and I would just learn it
Oh,
just so
yeah.
I could learn it and tell everybody, oh well, I don't use the QWERTY keyboard.
Oh, that's interesting.
I-
yeah.
See,
Just
that
to
would
be
that
different.
would completely change your mindset.
That sure
then.
would.
But then that would screw you up every time you used a real, like your phone. You'd have to switch to Dvorak. I mean, you
Well,
have to
no,
switch, like,
because
everything.
your phone, you kind of use your. It's not the same. It's not the same kind of like.
You don't lay your phone down and do like that.
It's funny to me. You talking about like being somewhere in between. I think I've been somewhere in between for 20 plus years because, like I said, I don't put my hands like in a proper place on the keyboard. So there's a lot of times when I just stare at the screen and I'm typing and I can see that I've mistyped something. So I back up, I mistype it again, I back up, I mistype it again, I back up, and then finally I look down at the keyboard and figure out that my fingers are not where I thought they were. And so I move them to where I want them to be, and then all of a sudden I can type again and off to the races. But I probably 4 or 5 times a day have one of those where like I waste 30 seconds because I don't have that training, I guess.
I'm surprised at how many people can do it. How many people do it well. I think it's a hard thing to do, and I'm impressed. Amanda can do it. Just
I work
Did you
in
take
an
a
ad.
typing class?
In
Amanda?
middle school, 8th grade, our Bible class was also our typing class. So we had to memorize our Bible verses, and then
and
we
type
had
the
to
Bible
type our
verses.
Bible verse in a certain amount of time. And we couldn't backspace or anything.
Interesting.
Gavin, can you type?
No,
No.
I can do the number pad
Yeah.
without looking.
I can do that. Yeah.
That's about it.
Womp womp womp.
What races do we have upcoming? We got St. Jude.
St. Jude.
St. Jude.
Damn, St. Jude won't go away.
You can go to heroes.stjude.org/Von Rawls and donate. And also, what's yours?
I'm covered. I'm good.
Good.
But y'all can still donate to Amanda
Vaughn,
Horrell, too.
have you done the Facebook fundraiser thing first?
Yep, I did.
Okay.
I couldn't figure out how to do that.
Because it
That
seems
works
like
too hard.
everybody I've seen that used the actual Facebook fundraiser app to do their hero stuff, like blew their.
It did
Yeah,
help.
it's
it did
easier
help a
to-
little bit. I mean,
So
you got to do all of it. I mean, you got to
Right.
do all. You got to email. You got to do everything.
I met my goal today.
Good for you.
Congrats.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, and your goal's huge.
Yes.
How much did you
got
raise?
like a
5,500.
Yeah.
Damn.
So I had to up my goal because my father-in-law is like killing it.
Uh-huh.
So I had to like try to compete with him, even though I'm still like less than half of what he fundraises
Nice.
every year.
Really?
So
Wow.
nice.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I didn't know until today that Daryl Brewer is your father-in-law.
yeah, I'll beat him on the course though.
You think are y'all pretty heavy competition? He's fast, man.
Yeah,
Daryl's tough. He's not that fast.
He's fast. but
he's
not
he's,
that
he's not that fast. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Darrell.
Let smack talking begin.
Do
Not
you
as
call
fast
him
as me.
Mr. Daryl or Daryl?
Well, I've been.
Or you just call him Mr. Daryl after you dog him out for being slow?
Oh my goodness. I call him Mr. Darrell usually.
He's a good guy.
I call my father-in-law Dennis.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
I call my father-in-law Mr. Kimsey.
Do you?
Yep.
See, I started dating his daughter when we were 16, though.
Oh, it makes a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I would be referring to my father-in-law as sir.
I'm sure I would be fine to call my father-in-law by his first name, but he's never told me to do that, so I don't do that. But I call her mom Carolyn. So, which we're going home to her house, their house, tomorrow.
Are you excited about the presents you're going to find underneath your
I'm
pillow
so
and
excited.
stuff like that?
I love it there. I love it there. The kids love it there. Last year, I gained 76 pounds. For the holidays. It was unbelievable. Had to have been at least a baker's dozen, just in like 4 or 5 days. Straight fudge, solid fudge, just sweating fudge. But I'm not going to do that this year because I'm on the.
But what you don't know is she's probably found like a keto-friendly fudge.
Well, she's on the wagon. She's dropping pounds. She's looking right, doing good.
She is, but your daughter asked for her to cook fudge, so she's cooking fudge with Andy when we come into town.
Yeah, and it would be rude for me to leave that fudge there with her and her be tempted. So we'll play it
You're going
like
to take
that.
one for the team.
Gavin, what's your goal for St. Jude?
Marathon goal?
Yeah.
3:15.
All right.
3:15.
Going to qualify for Boston? How old are
I think
you?
for my age, 36.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you got to be a little bit
You
faster.
gotta be faster than that.
305 or 310, I think.
Jeez. I
Probably
think it's 310, but I think that it got moved. Something got rearranged this
Well,
year.
and they keep changing. So I think like the official qualifiers 310 for you, but then all that does is get you on the list to be able to
Okay.
register.
Yeah, there's
and then
a lot
like
of rules.
if there's like 10,000 people that are 310 or better, it's whoever is fastest under 310 that gets to register first. If that
Okay.
makes sense.
Yeah.
So-
okay.
So it just depends on
Well,
how
still,
much you beat
315
310
is
by.
fast as shit.
Sure
Yeah,
enough.
it is.
Well, we'll see.
Man, especially for a guy who was a fat guy a year and a half ago.
Yeah, yeah.
How did that come
So
about?
actually, it's probably 2016. I was about 265 pounds, and
How tall are you? Sorry.
6 feet.
Okay.
So I was in Dallas, and I was up there for a conference and to take an exam, and my mom calls me, and she was like, "Hey, I know you're taking an exam, and everything's okay, but your dad's had another heart attack, and this is his fourth one, and he just turned 60 last year, so just poor diet and not a big guy, but just poor diet and I guess bad genes maybe." So when I got home from Dallas after, probably eating at 10 o'clock and way too much, and then, got home, I was 265, and I was like, well, I kind of see the writing on the wall. Maybe I should do something about this. So that's when I started really watching what I eat and lifting, and that's really where I lost all the weight. I've never run a mile in my entire life until April of 2017.
Good
No
Lord.
kidding. Wow.
So where were you at weight wise in April 2017?
2017, April, I was probably 195 or so.
Okay.
But a pretty jacked 195. I mean, you're a pretty jacked dude.
I'm not a jack dude at all now. It seems like the more I run, the smaller I get, the
Yeah.
weaker I get.
That happens.
But it kind of just got to the point where I was like, well, I'm just going to try to be really good at one thing instead of trying to do all things, I don't know, halfway, I guess.
There's nothing wrong with that. When you first started lifting weight, what were you doing? Did you just go?
I mean, so I've got a home gym, more or less, because, I have 5 kids, and it's kind of hard to get home at 5 or 5:30 and then take off and go to a gym for an hour and then come home. I'm 20 minutes from any gym, any direction, so
Oh yeah, you're out in the
yeah,
babies.
yeah. So I work out at home. I work out upstairs.
Okay.
Have
But-
you always
but-
lifted weights?
I lifted weights a lot in high school, college, and after me and my wife first got married, and then I don't know, more kids came, and I guess exercising kind of took a.
As it does.
So
Yeah.
you just kind of got married and got fat.
That's yes.
Fat and happy.
That's
guy.
pretty much it. Yes.
Yeah.
While you were getting fat, was
Fun.
there a side of you that just felt like you're getting strong? That's what I do the fatter I get.
Not if you were if you weren't lifting weights, probably not.
So even at like
So,
265,
I think it's like delayed onset muscles from when I've worked out in the past. Sometimes I'm getting fat, and I'm like, I think it was from when I worked out really hard a month ago.
10 years ago.
you know how you can see two different guys. One's 265, or they're both 265, but one looks completely different. I was
Yeah.
the one that kind of looked like, he's big, but not huge.
Uh-huh.
So I kind of looked like that.
Yeah.
Now I just run everything away.
And how did the transition come from? When did you say I'm going to start running and kick the weights?
So I was staying out of town, and I went to the hotel gym. I use quotation marks because the hotel gyms are usually a joke. I'm thinking, man, surely they're going to have a cable machine or something here, and there was nothing. It was like a treadmill. So I got on a treadmill and ran like a mile and a half, and I'd never run before in my life. And that was on like a Thursday, and I think on Saturday I just ran like 3/4 of a mile maybe on my road, and pretty much from there I started running. Never followed any kind of plan. I just kind of winging it. I have no idea what I'm doing.
How'd you find community?
The Lift Heavy Run Long community?
Or, I mean, just community in general. You're part of the North Mississippi Endurance team. You're well connected with the runners in the area. How did you meet them?
Mostly through the Lift Heavy Run Long community, and I guess doing a few races. I don't do a ton of races, so just a few races here and there. And I've kind of met some people, and that's really about it.
You like the trail or road more?
I really like the trails more, but it's kind of hard to run the trails more.
I'm gonna just jump in here.
Sure.
So you go, you don't really know anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You're just winging it,
Mm-hmm.
and you go to Walking Tall and run a 6 hour and 5 minute 50K. And now you're
All
gonna
right,
go
hang
and
on.
run it?
6 hour, 1 minute, and 20 seconds by my watch.
Okay, I just looked at the website earlier today. So.
Yeah, they gave me 3 minutes for some reason.
Oh, well,
The
you
website
need to
did.
take that up with
I know.
somebody.
I'm taking it up with somebody.
I
They
know I
took
would.
3 minutes away from you?
No,
Gave
they
him
gave me
extra
3
3
minutes.
Oh.
Yeah.
You think you can apply that to my DNF and
Sure.
see if we can find
I
some
think
other
that would have
people
put
to
you under the cap.
another 5 minutes and I'd be there.
We could probably find a
Well,
bunch of
that's-
people donate
well,
some time to you.
That's pretty damn impressive.
Hell yeah.
And I want to see you run that 3 hour and 15 minute marathon.
Me too.
I'll be there.
What kind
too.
of pace is that?
Should be
7:13.
should be a little bit. I think it's closer to 7:20. I think.
Is it?
Okay, now I'm wondering now.
How do you feel about it? I mean, are you confident it's going to happen?
Yeah. So
That's just not a long time to run, to be busting out a year and a half to just already be running a 3:05 marathon. That's astonishing.
yeah, I can push myself.
Uh-huh.
I'm pretty.
Have you always been like that?
I'm very self motivated. Once I put my mind to something, I can pretty much accomplish it.
What are some other examples of things that you've done that you've obsessed in and pushed hard through? Are you like that way in your career?
No. some days, some projects, but just kind of depends. Not so much in work, probably, but I don't know.
You said that you had an injury going on.
Yeah, so I started having some pain, not when I run, but the night after, like laying in bed and then wake up the next morning hurting below my knee. So I went to Ortho Memphis and got checked out, and nothing showed up on x-rays, and he basically told me he thinks I have a stress fracture and to not run until I get an MRI. So fingers crossed that's not what it is. I've had several people tell me that when they first started running, much like I did, they were told that they pronate and they were put into a stability shoe. And I've been running in a stability shoe for a year and a half, and I feel like my form, efficiency, something's gotten better maybe. And maybe I don't need the stability shoe anymore. So they say that.
I would agree with that.
So maybe that I'm causing some pain in my upper inside of my shin.
7:26.
So yeah, I got that.
You got that?
Yeah.
I was thinking because my qualifying time when I thought I could probably try to do that, which is a whole other story, but it was 3:10, and so
Yeah.
I think that's closer to 7:15.
Well, 3:10 is my qualifying time for Boston,
Okay, gotcha.
but I'm just shooting for a 3:15.
Gotcha.
For the record, Vaughn, you laughed at that, but I know that if that was your only goal was to do, if you said a year from now I'm going to run a 3:10 marathon,
Yeah.
peace out, I won't be seeing y'all in the gym. I'm just going to run
I would
all
do
the
that,
time.
but
You do it.
I don't want to do that.
Well, I didn't say that you wanted to do that. I said that you could do that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Wilson likes to try and plant seeds in people's heads. Like
Vaughn just said he was going to run a 3:10
You qualify
So-
for Boston next year at St.
Not
Jude.
gonna
Me
happen.
running a 100-miler next year. He likes
Is
to
that
try
how it
and
goes,
plant
Wilson?
seeds.
You encourage him that way? See, I would say I don't think you can do it next year.
Yeah.
No, what I'll do for Christmas is I'll get him like hotel reservations at the Boston Marathon. Like, it's already paid for. Now all you got to do is run a
All you gotta do is
3:05
right.
marathon or whatever.
I
it
guess
is.
I better start fundraising now so I can do the.
So you've got to, when do you get this MRI done? The guy said not to run until you get that done, but you got St. Jude coming up in a couple of weeks. Are you just going to pretend like he said that a couple of weeks from now?
Oh man, I've gone back and forth on that. I really don't know. I'm really thinking about running it regardless.
Yeah.
I mean,
If I raised $5,000, I would have. You wouldn't be able to keep me off the course,
yeah,
right?
yeah. We'll see. I know it's probably not the best thing for me, and I'm probably going to get roasted for saying I'm going to run it with a stress fracture. But
Well, I think if it starts hurting and you keep going, then I think people
then
really.
that's just stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if
that
you
right?
stop,
So
Oh,
you
is
stick
it?
'em in?
Start the race if it's not bothering you during the race.
Well, it's never bothered me while I run.
Then there's
Oh,
no
well, there
problem.
you go.
Just keep running.
Pain-free
Just don't
run.
ever
Don't
stop.
Just
stop.
don't ever
yeah, still stop. Don't ever stop.
Be like Forrest
Well, it
Gump.
hurts when
Maybe
I
that's the
stop.
problem.
Don't stop.
You keep
Yeah, the
stopping
problem is
running.
that you stop. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we just solved this. We should
Oh,
probably
I
get
should
a
be
medical
good then.
degree. We're all doctors here.
I'm not a doctor, but I do watch a lot of medical television shows.
Like General Hospital.
I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
We spent enough time with Amanda that we're all doctors.
2/5 of us are doctors.
And you just need to go and find a doctor that's going to tell you what you want to hear. And you can find those
Oh, sure. Yeah.
on the internet. There's doctors in Canada and Mexico that'll give you all kinds of advice, and hell, they'll even send you prescriptions if you find the right ones.
Jesus.
So after St. Jude, what do you have lined up?
Still a more 50
All right.
Okay.
and Wachita Trail 50 miler.
And then does this just bleed into a inevitable 100-mile race somewhere?
I think I'm going to put in for the Georgia Death Race lottery for 2020.
What does that mean?
Basically, you have to enter your name for a drawing, the lottery, and
Right.
the Georgia Death Race is 60. They call it a 68 miler. I think everybody that's run it said it's closer to 73 or 4 miles with about 20,000 feet of gain. So we'll see how that goes.
What is 20,000 feet of gain? How do you compare that to something?
That's
What was
like
Big
a-
Hill
I think a
Pond?
mile,
It's like
I
5
think-
times what Big Hill Pond was.
like a mile.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That was terrible for me.
Well,
so.
is the Georgia Death? Is it strictly just running, or do you have to do?
No, it's
chop
it's
down
strictly
trees and
it's strictly
shit?
running, just up and down
Okay.
mountains,
I
ridges.
think a mile is 5,600 feet.
5260.
5,260. So
Or something.
How about that? It's almost 4 miles.
4
Up
miles
and-
up.
Yes.
Up and down.
Up and down.
So 4 miles vertically up, straight up.
yes.
Like if you
He's
just
gonna take
were
off.
gonna-
This is definitely one of those races where you're going to be like, are we going to be back down by that creek again and have to climb all the way back up this mountain?
So I think
Get up the damn creek.
we
Shut
know
up, Wilson.
we know 4 people running it in 2019. So Sean and Brian are running it.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, they got okay.
Christy Brewer is running it.
Okay.
I don't know Christy Brewer. I just met her at Big Hill Pond, but man, she's killing it.
I think she went to the 100
Yeah.
at Tunnel Hill.
Mm-hmm. When she went for it, I don't think she made it. I think she had some feet problems.
Yeah, I think.
Imagine that.
Yeah, what could go wrong with your feet on a 100-mile race?
Go wrong trying to run 100 miles.
In
Yeah.
that cold, yeah.
Yeah.
You going to run the 100-miler next year at Tunnel Hill with Big Thirsty?
I don't think I really have a lot of desire to run Tunnel Hill.
Yeah.
I think it's just too flat.
Too easy.
It'd just be monotonous.
Yeah.
You'd
It is
be-
that.
That
You-
is exactly why I don't want to do the 100 out there. It's so monotonous.
Oh my goodness.
I need more adventure.
When you get to a hill, you can stop and walk, and then you can like use different muscles to climb the
That's
hill.
You can stop and
seriously,
walk
that's
on the
exactly
flat
why I
course,
like.
too.
That's why I like trails, is because of the constantly varied terrain. You know,
Right.
so you get to use different muscles, and you're not just like it's like not like a road race where you're just kind of running nonstop. But
I've heard people say that before. Do you think that that's true, that there is an aspect to trail running to the like working different things out?
yeah, when you're
that
going
would
up or
make-
down a hill, you're using quads as opposed to typically mostly hamstrings when you're on flat surfaces. So you do get to change, and then also speed changes will switch between slow and fast twitch muscles. So there's just a lot of opportunity in my non-medical understanding that to use different muscles that allow you to run for longer and just be more consistent in general.
The reason I ask is because when I finish something like Tunnel Hill, which is exceptionally flat, I'm like, God, I can't take another step. I can't even imagine running a real trail race with elevation and hills. And then I've had people who say it's actually, on some level more comfortable doing that because you can, stretch some things out. And I thought that sounds good in theory, but I don't know that I want to test that.
Yeah. My first 250s were Mississippi Trail 50 down in Laurel, Mississippi. And it's by no means a hilly course, but it is, just a constantly, rolling hills type terrain. And they have a 12-hour cutoff. And so the three times I attempted it, one time I dropped at the 50K because I set a 50K PR when running the 50 miler. So I was like, I think I went out too fast. But the other 2 times, I finished in under 12 hours, which is better than I've done at Tunnel Hill. So I definitely think there's something to it.
Well, I ran, I ran Wachita several times, 11, 12 hours, and ran Tunnel Hill at 9 hours. So
Is there one that was more comfortable as a whole, or I guess when you get into that kind of pain, it's hard to say. Like, it's more comfortable to get shot in the front of your head or the side.
I can see both sides, but I just love Tunnel Hill. It was a lot of fun. I can see that you would think it was boring, and I kind of thought maybe it would be boring, but it was not boring, especially running for 28 hours or whatever it was.
And you guys had a good group there, and you do every year, right?
Yeah.
Probably makes it a little bit.
We roll deep.
It makes it
We roll very deep.
Yeah.
a lot better. I mean, it's nice to know that somebody's coming
Yeah.
for help or whatever.
Yeah.
Be.
That's
You're
the
gonna see
difference. Is
a friendly face.
Like when we roll pretty deep, Gavin. So
Yeah.
having all the people at the race makes it.
Well, I mean, you saw it at Big Hill Pond.
Yeah, it was awesome.
You know, I mean, between North Mississippi Endurance and LHRL team, we had probably 30 plus people there.
Yeah.
I think, and several people from other states that flew in specifically for that race just to be a part of it, to be a part of the community, that kind of thing. So
That's the only reason I screw with any of these races. Like, if it wasn't for the people and the community aspect of it, I really wouldn't care anything about
a
doing
good
this.
little point to ponder. Like, if you didn't know anybody, would you show up and run any of
No.
If you showed up and there was nobody that you knew there,
what took you to Tunnel Hill the first time?
To get to 5,400.
450, yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna do you're gonna do the 100 now just to do it.
There is no way in hell I can do a 100-mile race. There is no way in hell I could do a 100-mile race. There is no way in hell I could do it.
I think it's like Beetlejuice. If you say it 3 times, it'll appear.
I really would. I really would.
Candyman.
I would do that. Oh God. I wish you wouldn't have said
Nobody
that, man.
ever
That
gets
just
my
made
movie
my
references.
skin crawl. That is going to scare me for a long time.
That's why I went with Beetlejuice.
Oh man, Candyman. Wow. Yeah, I would if I could do that, I would do that. But I can't do that. That's not like, oh, if you tell yourself you can or you can't, you can, or can't.
No,
post it
either
type
way,
thing.
but
you're right.
I think you're in the same position that I am, though.
No,
I
I'm
think,
not. Go ahead.
I think it's a matter if we were willing to commit to the training, we are both very capable of it. But neither of us wants to put the time in training to get to that level for that to be even remotely fun or interesting or not just a complete shit show.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Speaking of training, do you have like a set training plan that you do, kind of like Hillston does, or do you just kind of go, I'm
I'm
gonna go
winging it.
run for 7 miles today? Or
No, I just try to, I don't know, I guess I go by perceived effort. So I'm either trying to run 5 miles and feel like I put forth a good effort in those 5 miles, or if I go out for 20-mile training run on
But
Saturday
do
morning.
you have like a 1 week plan or a 4 week
No,
plan?
I have
or...
nothing. I suck.
No.
I'm just winging it, man.
The last thing
on
you
any
do
gi-
is suck.
on any-
That's not.
On any given day, you just decide, okay, I'm going to do 5 miles as fast as I can, or this
Not
is
necessarily
going to be an easy
that.
effort day. Or...
I try to take easy effort days on long run days, and I mean, I don't know how easy they really are. But I try not to run more than 4 days a week. Also,
Are you still doing any lifting or anything else?
very little lifting. I mean, you're talking about four or 5 times a month right now.
Okay. Once
All
a
right,
week.
let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think? So you think you're winging it?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that all you have to do really to be good at running is just run all the time, or do you think you have some natural ability that
Oh, I don't
nobody,
know.
you
Good
just,
genes.
You just have this thing
I'm
about
going
you
to
that
have
you
to
never
vote for
realized.
good gene. I mean, not
There's got to be
not
some
that you're
of
not
that.
capable, but
I don't
you're,
know if
you
any
got
of
good
my
genes.
grandfathers have ever been runners, grandmothers.
Doesn't matter.
But you're kind of like you grew up around here,
Right.
right? So they probably weren't very active people anyway, were they?
No, I mean,
Like I know my dad never ran races, and I'm pretty sure when he grew up, they lived in the middle of the woods in a shack and ate possums and squirrels. and shit. So like they probably didn't even know what like races were, So nobody probably set out to run a 100-mile race, much less a 5K.
right.
So you don't even know like where did this come from, or is it just because I'm doing the right
well,
thing?
and I mean, your DNA can be set up in such a way that you're genetically predisposed to be a good runner and not have any family history of being a runner.
Yeah. I don't know.
Just
But there's also the fact that he does run. and he does it 4 times a week.
Outside of
Oh,
racing.
yeah.
And
Well,
he
that's-
runs
Oh
that's
yeah,
kinda
really
what-
hard.
that's
I was
kinda
a
my
much
question,
much better runner when I was running 4, 5, 6 days a week.
I would imagine I would be better at running if I ran.
I guess what I'm getting at is like, you hire a coach and you're like, okay, coach, tell me what to do, all this stuff, but really, is any of that really necessary? Or if you
I bet
just
you if
go
he
out
hired a
and
coach,
run-
he'd be running a 2:15 marathon.
That's what I was getting at. Like,
I
would
bet you if he hired a coach, he'd be running even faster.
Maybe get Kevin
Right.
Leathers on him.
You need to find a coach that programs 71.5% of your back squat into a workout because that kind of stuff is proven.
run
Oh,
a
goodness.
5K at 10% of 72.1% of your
53.7%
deadlift.
of your max. I read that stuff and I'm like, who even has the audacity to think that people think this makes sense at all? That there's any science behind this?
There probably is, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But then I'm the one out there calculating my weights of what I need to put on there. So I'm the goober who follows it all.
And you probably get the most gains out of it than anyone else.
Is there a different
That's why she's
feeling
jacked
for
and
you
tan.
between when you were lifting weights and when you were running? Do you like the feeling of being light and more of a runner than you did when you were lifting weights?
Yeah, maybe. I think I like the feeling of being able to go to a 10K and compete, or go to a 10-miler and compete. So
I don't
It's got to
have
be cool.
I don't have either one that I can. I can't compete in running and I can't compete in strength, but the strength comes more naturally to me
Right.
than the running does. And there's been times where I've tried to drop weight and run better and feel better about that. And I do not like not feeling strong.
see, I never got into the competing. I guess during weightlifting, so I really wouldn't know how to do that. But I mean, there's not really a lot of things that guys in their mid-30s can go do. That kind of fuels that competitive nature, like running does.
Well, and
Oh,
you
that's
said
for sure,
you
yeah.
said in regards to your injury that it was a concern because it's part of your life. Running's
Right.
part of your life. It's part of what makes you a good father and a good husband and a good person.
Yeah, I mean, it's become as much a part of my life as any of those things.
And it just hits me. You said you're 36?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you are in the most competitive men's
Yeah,
age group
it's
in the
rough.
Memphis. In the
It's
Memphis.
rough.
And you're still podiuming, so
Sometimes.
well, okay, sometimes is more often
That's
than
podiuming.
Yeah. So, it's that's even all the more impressive to me considering how big our community is and knowing I thought I was going to get a break when I went from 35 to 39 to 40 to 44.
No, I don't
and
think you
40
do.
to 44 is just the guys that have been doing 35 to 39. So they're just as fast too. I mean, it's crazy. And I don't know that I've ever said this on the podcast before, but some of my best races when I was fast, I could be 10th overall in a race and not podium in my age group.
Yes.
And it's like, that's just nuts to me. Like 500 people show up to a race.
Say that again.
500 people show up to a race. I finish 10th overall. I do not podium for my age group.
Oh man. Wow. Yeah. Okay. I
And
get
some of the guys in my age group are also the first, second, and third overall winners. So that means there's anywhere from 3 to 6 people in that top 10 that were faster than me in my age group.
I always liked it when they won first, second, and third. Cause
To
then that
knock
means
you out of
Because
the
it
age
shifted
group.
you
No, that
up.
means I got to-
Yeah, it shifted them
Yeah.
up.
Well, no,
Bring
that's
home
what I'm
something.
saying.
Yeah, that's what I
Sometimes-
mean. Like
Sometimes they were first, second, third, and there were still 3 more guys
Right,
in my
right.
age group to keep me off the podium. So
Yeah, so I'll plug that race in Batesville that I ran last Saturday before last, I guess. I ran it last year, and I was 4th in my age group. And had I been in the 30 to 34 age group, I'd have been 1st.
right,
yeah.
Unbelievable.
yeah.
Wow.
So what's your
I'm just
proudest? Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say I'm just finding smaller races.
That and you can only get so small. Trust me. I've gone to some pretty small races, and you can't just walk up onto a podium. They don't let you do that.
It's so funny. I randomly showed up at the Camp Good Grief 5K and ended up taking second in my age group at that race. And there's only probably 200 runners there, maybe 300 runners. So that's why I did so
Still a
well.
lot of people.
That's a lot
Still
of
of runners.
I had a good day. I was trying to impress a girl.
That'll do it.
Did it work?
No,
So what's your proudest accomplishment in your running career so far?
I'd have to say right now, I mean, I've had better finishes or higher finishes, but I just say the Big Hill Pond was probably my proudest one so far. The walking tall.
That was a hard race.
Yeah, it was tough.
What are you proud about that race?
Finishing.
Okay.
Finishing. So that was.
So, what was your overall, or what was your, where'd you finish in the race, position-wise?
11th.
11th overall?
11th.
Wow.
So did you take first in your age group?
Oh, I don't know because they didn't break it down that way.
They didn't break it down in age groups? Okay, fair enough. I didn't
I doubt
know,
it,
so.
though. I doubt it.
Brian Shawn probably gave like 3 trophies, like first, second, and third. That's it.
Yep.
Nobody else gets anything.
And they got the big stick.
Yeah.
Right. But 6 hours is pretty damn impressive
Yeah,
on a
that's
course like that.
amazing.
Yeah.
You know?
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Which do you like more, the trail or the road?
The trail.
Do you run more on the trail or more on the? I guess you probably have to spend more time on the road.
I probably,
whether you
yeah,
like it or
I
not.
definitely spend more time on the road. I try to run the trails on Saturday mornings, but I mean, you know, I have 5 kids, so there's soccer games or birthday parties or whatever going on almost every Saturday.
Talk
so.
about going all in on things. 5 kids. 5 kids is going all in on building a family.
So do you have a treadmill?
Yes. It has not been turned on in probably over a year.
Did you steal it from Olive Branch CrossFit?
Because I'm still missing one.
Vaughn's still
No.
missing his treadmill.
I dumped the clothes off of it and stole it from my mom.
Ah,
Nice.
okay.
Could you get on the treadmill if you needed to get your training run in?
Oh, my goodness. I don't know.
I couldn't anymore. I mean,
I would rather go run in the cold rain.
The first month that I started running, I could get on a treadmill and I could do 3, 4, 5 miles, no problem. Now I literally can't spend 10 minutes on a treadmill, and I'm like, gotta get off.
Do you pull your hair
I
out?
can't.
Yeah.
I did 5 today on the treadmill.
Did you?
Oh, man.
Where?
At work?
You don't have any problems with treadmills?
Not at all.
Oh, it's
I mean,
terrible.
I can just switch my brain off and like,
Does your work one have a view though?
no, not really. I mean,
I mean, I just know where the gym's at, so I was just wondering
I
if it
mean,
was
there is
overlooking.
one treadmill that faces the window. You could look out at the river, but it gets stuck like every 3 or 4 when my left foot hits. It'll like that, and I'll be like, oh shit! Like I'm gonna fall off the treadmill. So I don't get on that one. I get on the other
Okay,
one.
fair enough.
But I do listen to podcasts while I'll go up, stick a podcast on, and just zone out for like 45 minutes, and before you know it, it's 5 miles.
That's the one thing I've never done is other than listening to music, I never tried listening to a podcast or an audiobook or like watching like a TV show or something like that. I've never tried to do that on a treadmill.
When I first started running, I did treadmill, and it was at night because I worked all day, and I go like at 11 o'clock at night. And so we had a window that we ran in front of, but I couldn't see anything out because of the lights. So I would go into this trance. I remember I'd watch my shoulders go back and forth, and I could just kind of zone out and just watch that movement and just kind of keep my pace by watching my shoulders and just kind of zone out for 5 miles. And I'd be like, oh, 5 miles is over. Yeah.
Well, one thing about it is it pisses me off real good because you get on a treadmill and it'll take me like 12 minutes to run a mile. And I'm like,
When's the last time this thing's been calibrated?
Right, like this thing is messed up. And then today I turned my watch on because you can do indoor running on the Garmin, and I like it a lot better because
I'll bet you do.
It's like a quarter of a mile longer than the treadmill, but I feel like I'm running at the same amount. And then when you get off of the treadmill and go run on the road, it's like way easier. You know, treadmills just suck, but you know, it's whether you can deal with that or not.
I've had some pretty wicked treadmill sessions. Not anytime. I don't think I'll ever get back on one, but you know, when I was just getting into all this and not really knowing what direction I wanted to go, I remember having some really good, like, feeling the runner's high and getting all that experience and being like, this is great. And I also remember if I go to like ATC, I sweat so incredibly bad that I'm just waiting for the thing to catch fire, short circuit. And you ask them for a towel, and they're like, "We don't, we're not. This is only supposed to be for the tanning bed." And it's like, all right, you're gonna be the one to clean all this stuff up,
Right.
And it's borderline embarrassing how much I sweat on that treadmill. But I don't have to worry about that anymore because I don't go get on the treadmill.
Yeah, so I think the closest thing I've been able to do close to that is not on a treadmill, but when I was a member at Bartlett Rec, they have a 10th mile track, and I ran 12 miles on that 10th mile track.
Nope.
Man,
but
yeah,
it was
that's
like, it was winter. I was not into cold weather running, didn't have any gear for that. So it was like completely bundled up going into the gym and then stripping it all down and being in shorts and a t-shirt and just running around the basketball court, whatever it was, 120 times. And
Oh my goodness.
Nope.
I think I did 23 miles on a treadmill one time.
Really?
23?
I think so.
Wow.
Dang.
Yeah,
Were
I may
you
be
on drugs
exaggerating.
or?
No, I was sober.
Well, I know you told me before you were going in there like
Yeah, I'd go and ball out.
high as
It's-
balls, run on the.
But, I would only do 4, 6 miles, something like that. Not 23. But I can't remember why I went so long. It seems like it was before Sillamore years ago. And
you just needed to get a long run in.
I had to see if I could do it or something.
Man, I don't
Maybe
know.
it's 18.
I've never ran that long on a treadmill.
I may
think
be
I have
making it
either.
up.
But I remember when I first started running and I made it to 5 miles on the treadmill, and I thought I was the coolest person in that gym and that nobody
Well, you
else
were.
ran 5 miles.
Yeah, you probably were.
Well, it was 11 o'clock at night, so I was like the only one in there. But I just thought that was like, nobody ever runs 5 miles on the treadmill. Now it's like, oh, yeah, they do. But
Any chance of you coming and visiting Olive Branch CrossFit?
Maybe.
Do you have any desire to CrossFit or cross train, do anything different?
I mean,
no.
not really.
No.
He wants to find new ways to exacerbate that stress factor, and it's
Yeah.
CrossFit
Yeah,
will
that's
do that.
exactly right.
He wants to completely snap it all the way in half.
Yeah, that will help. That helps
we'll
snap
program in some
everything.
box jumps and a couple of things that will just really, really
At
help
least
that.
we'll get down to what the actual problem is faster. You'll come to the gym with us.
Yeah, we'll
then
basically push everything to the extremes, and we'll figure out what.
you don't need
what
that
breaks.
MRI.
Load
Yeah.
this barbell up and
Just
Yeah.
if it pops, you'll
figure
know
it
what
out.
happened.
That was it.
The
See,
iron
the
never
doctors were
lies.
wrong.
the iron never lies.
Good
Are you
times.
obsessive with things like when you get on a hobby? Is it hard for you to get off of it? Like you said that you're injured, and if the injury is something that sets you down for 8 weeks, and you have to find something new, can you see yourself being like, "Oh, I like this swimming stuff. Now I'm just going to be,
I doubt it.
no."
No, because one thing I've really grown to love in running is the community, especially in the Mid-South area, the DeSoto County area, and I think I would just be ready to get back into the community.
Well, you could always, if you need any help figuring out how to volunteer, Wilson will give you some pointers on how to volunteer at
I
races
did that
and
once.
stuff.
I got a lot
He
I could
volunteered for
offer
a
you
race.
in that area.
Hey, so I sent the race director for Swamp Stomper an email saying, "Hey, I'll volunteer. I'll help at an aid station, or I'll sweep, or I'll
Did you
do
get any
whatever."
response? 'Cause
Wilson
I-
knows
Never
some
got a
people.
I
response.
didn't
Wilson
either.
knows
I
some
sent one
people.
in.
That's
I asked
where
him if he
we
needed
already
an aid
tried
station. I
to
told
do
him,
everything.
That's where he volunteered that time.
Well,
Swamp
that
Stomper.
now
one
that we
time.
brought it up, I'm sure someone will see this and be like,
We need to talk to Brian Williams because Brian Williams is usually involved in one of those aid stations.
I like the idea of offering but not being taken up on it.
it gives you
I
more
tried.
to talk
Does
about.
that does that
It
give you
makes
like another
feel-
5 years
yeah.
credit?
Tried
of,
publicly.
like-
It's
I'm
almost,
always
uh,
trying to volunteer at these aid stations and nobody will call me back.
So I accidentally signed up for the 25K not thinking that was literally the weekend after Dopey. Is anybody else going to run that out of our
Yeah.
group? Okay.
I'll be there.
All right. I
Be a great
didn't
re-
even
be a
look
great-
at the
be a great
dates. I just
recovery run.
signed up on it, and then Melissa's like, "Wow, good for you. That's a week after Dopey." I'm like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, I posted something about it, and Dawn's like, "You dumbass." So, yeah, so we're going to do the Dopey Challenge in January: 5K Thursday, 10K Friday, half marathon Saturday, full marathon Sunday, and then literally the next Sunday is Swamp Stomper.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
You got that though.
Have you ran Swamp Stopper? Or do you hang out
That'd be
there
a good one
lot?
for you to do.
Mm-mm.
It's hard.
No, but I was going to ask you guys about. I know I've heard you talk about it on the podcast before. The Herb Parsons Trail Marathon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
Oh,
in
that's in
January,
January.
right?
Yeah.
it's like
it's like
it's
January
usually
1st,
New Year's.
First weekend of
Oh, really?
New Year's
I've
weekend.
never ran it. I was signed up to run it one year and went and got in that cryotherapy chamber before.
Oh, and you got sick.
And
That's
then
right.
I got sick.
Oh,
as a
my God.
dog. And I was so sick. I've never been that sick. And I was so sick that like everybody in the group was like, "Dude, you need to go
Yeah,
home."
you need to go
I
home.
was in bad shape, man. That was terrible.
Oh my
terrible.
goodness.
I'm going to do Herb Parsons.
I need to do that.
We should all do that.
I don't really care for that course.
The roots.
I
All I've heard is the
No,
roots.
it's not the roots because I don't do stanky because of the roots. I refuse.
I might be.
to
I might be
run.
willing, depending on how it falls. I might be willing to do the half out there. That'll be a good last training run for Dopey. if it's the weekend before Dopey.
What else we got? Anything good?
I might do the half, maybe.
Yeah, man, go and read our blogs.
How about we got people posting. We got LHRL ambassadors posting stuff. Crystal started a new
Love
update
that.
segment.
Yeah.
I mean, at the least, we've got really good content on a regular basis that you should check out for sure.
Definitely.
Like by multiple people.
Gavin, do you have a blog?
No.
Do you post on social media your updates? Are you that like unicorn runner that doesn't actually talk about their running on social media?
I probably more in person.
Okay.
No, I'm a terrible writer. So Wilson asked me to write a short bio in the third person, and my brain just didn't work that way. So I called my sister. I was like, "Hey, can you write me a bio about me?" And then like 5 minutes later, she sends me like 3 paragraphs.
Good bio. We'll get to read it next week.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a terrible writer.
I am too.
I hate writing about myself in the third person. I usually finish those up by saying, and Brian also hates to write about himself in the third person as like the final piece of my bio. So, anyways,
Lift Heavy Run Long number 124 is in the books.
Boom.
boom.